Right, welcome to the studio, Angie Brydges, who is Chairperson of the Uxbridge Community Centre. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
Now, not many people, I think, know where this place is. First of all, can you explain whereabouts the community centre actually is?
Yeah, so it's on the Greenway, in between Elthorne Road and Kings Road. It's not very visible from the road because the church itself, because it was a church originally, is set back a little from the road, and obviously we've got like a very small car park at the front. So unless you know that area, you might miss it.
Yeah. And what's inside?
We've got two very good-sized halls. The first one, which was the original church, that can take up to about 110, I think, seated, more if they're just stood. In the small hall, it can take up to 40 people seated. So we tend to have, different groups using the different rooms depending on what their activities are.
All kinds of things go on there.
Oh, yeah.
I hear.
So on a daily basis, we have the nursery. They're in every morning, and sometimes they're going into the afternoon, and that's for the preschool children. And then in the afternoon, we have groups like line dancing. They're in regularly, and we have Tai Chi, Pilates. They tend to be in the evening. Karate on a Wednesday. And then we have Freedom of Dance. That's a dance troupe for children. They are in I think it's on a Thursday and a Saturday. And then we have a church that goes in on a Sunday called Jesus Reigns. And then we like to keep it free at the weekends because we have a lot of families that want to have birthday parties for children or just family parties. So we tend to keep the Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon free for them. We tend not to do the 18-year-old, 16-year-old 21st because we are in a residential area and we are very mindful of our neighbours. We ask for music to be turned off at about 10 o'clock at night, so if you're having a party it's not going to be until the early hours of the morning.
Yeah. So kids' parties, do you provide ear defenders on a Saturday afternoon?
They're never that bad. People tend to like our hall because it's got very high ceilings because it was a church, so it's great if you want to hire a little bouncy castle. So we tend to get parties that have that, or we have little kickers. They do football classes there on a Saturday, and sometimes people like to hire those kind of activities in for their parties.
So the history of it used to be a church.
Yes, it was part of the Uxbridge parish, and it's still linked to St Andrews. They are our landlord. I think it was originally built in, 1906. And I think the church came first and then the hall was built separately later. But obviously church congregations were declining by the mid-80s. There was a guy called Theo Samuels. I think he might have been a vicar at Uxley, and I think he was a chaplain at Brunel. And it was his idea that the building should become a community centre. And I believe it was around about 1983-84 that they started developing this idea for the Uxbridge Community Centre.
Okay.
So, it's all down to Theo, really. And one of our past chair people, Derek Munn, and he was a big, keen short mat bowler. We have them in there as well. Sorry, I forgot them. Short mat bowls on a Wednesday afternoon. He was linked with that centre until he died, really. So he's had a very strong connection with it since about 86. So for a good 30 years, he was involved with the centre.
And you still have a few gaps in the diary, so if organisations wanted to come in and use the hall.
Yes, we do. Tends to be the afternoons.
Yeah.
Tend not to be used so much. I think Monday evening we've got free. So if anybody wants to do some kind of class on a Monday evening past 6:30, I think we've got spaces. But yeah, afternoons tend to be. But we are getting booked up because we do more outreach work now. We work with the NHS and they do a lot of education classes, things like diabetes. We haven't got masses of space, but I'm sure we can squeeze somebody in. What we've established fairly recently, because we want to do more community-based work, is a free coffee morning, and that's every Thursday from 10:30 to 12:30. We've got free teas, coffees, and always homemade cake.
Free cake?
Free cake, and it's homemade.
Probably get queues out the door.
We do, and some people even want to take their little doggy bag with them. We've also got a lady who helps us by finding, free food that's going to be thrown away. So she goes around to lots of supermarkets and gathers food. So sometimes they might have a glut of bananas and then she'll give them to us. And then some of our people come and they take that food and then they'll turn it into banana bread.
Yes.
I think she dropped off a load of spinach and I made some nice spinach, feta cheese and mushroom tartlets. So we try and use that food and then we'll hand it over to whoever wants to come along and join in. It's very much a social group.
Yeah.
There's no age limit. So anybody, any age is very, very welcome.
And I guess it's warm because it's a bit chilly at the moment still, isn't it?
It is. And it is in the smaller hall.
Yeah.
Which has got a lower ceiling and tends to feel warmer. So that's the one where we can fit 40 people in, and it's lovely.
Thanks, Angie. And I shall pop round, come and see you at some point for tea and coffee.
Please do.
And there's more information on the Uxbridge Community Centre online at www.uxbridgecentre.co.uk or call them on 01895 257 163. That's 257 163.
Uxbridge FM.